Look how quickly Forretress is going to take out this Shiftry. Bastiodon comes in. We are loaded on energy. We are going to throw this Earthquake at the Bastiodon. Look how much damage this is going to do to Bastiodon. Boom. And Forretress does not care about Frenzy Plants, tanks that, and farms down with Bug Bite. And they're going to bring in Marowak. This is a horrible situation. Look how much damage Fire Spin's doing. It's a race to Earthquake. Can we get there? Forretress clutching out the Earthquake. Because they have 0 shields, this is actually going to work out in our favor. Earthquake one-shots the Marowak. But they switched into Shiftry. Did not expect that. Here comes... Wow. Enough said. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Brown Brownie, thank you for the support. In today's video, we're going to be showcasing Shadow Forretress, one of my favorite Pokemon to use in Go Battle League, and it has definitely been very difficult to run as well, especially with the moveset I'm running. I'm running Sand Tomb, Earthquake, Double Ground. Would recommend going with Mirror Shot if you are testing this Pokemon out, but I did want to try the debuff strategy with Forretress and see how it works. Now, Shadow Forretress, I'm going to pair it with Rainy Castform in the lead, which has been very good lately with the electric coverage move and water typing. And I'm going to have Deoxys in the back without Thunderbolt. A little bit questionable, but I did enjoy using Psycho Boost with Rock Slide. And honestly, Shadow Forretress, it's a little bit difficult to use, mainly because there's a lot of fire now with Alolan Marowak, and Shadow Hypno, almost all of them are running Fire Punch, and those do a lot of damage to Forretress. So if you align it incorrectly, or if you use it as a safe switch and you get countered by a fire type, it's pretty much game over. But if you could align it properly against like Shadow Vic Bastiodon teams, it one-shots Bastiodon with Earthquake basically. Or even Double Grass team Caleb Peng style, performs really good. Those are pretty much its strengths. Fire is its weakness. If you can line it up properly, you're gonna see in this video, it performs pretty damn well. So let's get into the first matchup right now. So heading into the first matchup here against Jerry Jankster, and we are going to be facing Shadow Victreebel to start it all off. Obviously a horrible lead for Rainy Castform. Razor Leaf is chunking away, so I'm going to switch into Deoxys here. And pretty much anytime you see Shadow Victreebel, you have to know that there's going to be a Bastiodon in the back. So I'm not bringing in the Forretress here because I want it for potentially hitting a grass type plus Bastiodon with Earthquake. What I want to do here is make sure that I burn both shields, and you know for a fact that they're going to use both shields on Victreebel because they want to align Bastiodon against something that is not Rainy Castform. So I'm actually going for back-to-back Psycho Boosts here. Did build up to both just so that I don't get any desync lag with the fast moves. And we're going to go down here. But now the Victreebel has no shields. So I'm going to bring in Forretress, and you're going to see just how badly Forretress destroys this Victreebel. So Bug Bite is absolutely chunking away. Victreebel is going to throw a charge move here. Acid Spray would probably be the correct move to go for here, but they actually go for Leaf Blade. So it's possible it might be single moved. Either way, we do farm it down. And you can see Razor Leaf did chunk quite a bit still, but we're in a good spot. Bastiodon comes in. We are loaded on energy. We are going to throw this Earthquake at the Bastiodon. Look how much damage this is going to do to Bastiodon. Boom. Basically one-shots. He switches out into Venusaur. Venusaur can't do anything to Forretress. Gonna throw the Sand Tomb here. And yes, Mirror Shot is probably the better move to use. I would recommend going Mirror Shot if you are using Forretress, but I just really wanted to test out the debuff strategy with Forretress here basically. So I bring in the Castform here knowing that the defense has been lowered on the Venusaur and I could pretty much farm down, but we're just gonna throw the Weather Ball here anyways because Razor Leaf is absolutely chunking away. And even if it were to survive here, we do have the Forretress in the back. Well, actually we don't have Forretress, but we do have Castform here who is able to Water Gun down, so we do take that win against the, I guess, Cancer team is what people like to call it. So we get the win there. Next match against Quiggles, and we're going to see a Skarmory Lead. So obviously Skarmory is actually a pretty good lead for us because we do have Thunder on Castform. So this is a pretty favorable matchup, and usually I would expect to see them switch out, but it looks like they're going to stay in here. So when they stay in, most of the time I assume they're not running Caleb Peng because usually the Caleb Peng Double Grass switches on to Shiftry right away. But it looks like here that they are over farming quite a bit. So at this point I don't want to get hit by a Brave Bird, so I'm going to shield this. Once they throw Sky Attack, I know that they're likely not going to get to another Brave Bird. So even if they do throw, it's only going to be a Sky Attack most likely. And the opponent is choosing to stay in this matchup, which is pretty interesting. Would expect Shiftry to come in now. They actually bring in Victreebel, so this is not the Caleb Peng team. This is some sort of variation of the Victreebel line, and we could bring in Forretress here. And look at this. Forretress is absolutely walling Victreebel. It can't do anything. I'm gonna throw the Leaf Blade. That does nothing. They bring in Azumarill. Should go for the Earthquake here. Earthquake actually still does quite a bit to Azumarill, as you're going to see here. Boom, does about 50% almost. And now we switch into the Deoxys, and mind you, we are not running Thunderbolt. And obviously Thunderbolt would be very useful to have in a situation here against Azumarill, but I'm running Psycho Boost, so this whole line kind of has like weird movesets, like not so traditional. We're running Sand instead of Mirror Shot, we're running Psycho Boost instead of Thunderbolt. So it does make it a little bit harder to play, I find, but Psycho Boost does come in handy at times because it generates so quickly. And if you could use it at a point in which the debuff doesn't really matter, like right here for example, you're in a pretty good spot. So Victreebel comes back in, and obviously we're in a great position here. We can basically just farm down with the Forretress, and we're going to take that matchup. So next match against World's Greatest 4, and we're going to be leading Rainy Castform once more into the Skarmory. And let's see if this is Caleb Peng line. Yes, it is. So they are going to switch into Shiftry. I'm going to bring in Deoxys here. And obviously Deoxys is going to take super effective from foul play. So you have to shield at least one time here. This time we actually get baited by a Leaf Blade, which is not good. Because you could still survive a foul play, but you don't want to get baited by a Leaf Blade twice, because that will really make this matchup close. You want to maintain switch advantage no matter what. So I am going to try to commit to a farm down here if possible. Now at this point I assume he's going to throw Leaf Blade again. I mean foul play, so I shielded, but it's another Leaf Blade. So that's really bad. Wasting both shields on 2 Leaf Blades makes this match really close. And as you can see, after this foul play comes through, it gets really close to KOing. So we get very fortunate here to finish him off with the farm down. Maintaining switch advantage here is the most important thing, because Forretress will absolutely handle Meganium in the back. We didn't get off the move there, which is a little bit unfortunate, so they get to keep that shield. Gonna come in with Forretress here, and look at this, absolutely amazing. Gonna throw this Sand soon. This is actually gonna lower the defense on Meganium, and we're gonna be doing even more damage now. We do get the shield, which is even better for us, and obviously Meganium here wants to throw Earthquake because Frenzy Plant literally does nothing. So Earthquake comes through. You can see Forretress still handles that pretty decently. They switch into Skarmory. Now shields are down, so we're in a great spot. Because just throw the Thunder here and we'll be basically in prime position to win this matchup. So they are going to throw a Sky Attack. I would probably build up for a Brave Bird there to have any chance of winning. I think Brave Bird's definitely the play you want to go for. But realistically, we would probably get to Thunder first anyways. So Thunder's going to come through. It's going to knock out the Skarmory just about. Water Gun down. And the Meganium comes in. Now, at the time I was thinking this isn't very good for us because now Meganium's going to be able to farm up. The real question is, will it be able to get to an Earthquake? Because even though Forretress is low, Frenzy Plant will not KO here. So you can see the Meganium beats us to the charge move, but it's only going to be a Frenzy Plant. And Forretress does not care about Frenzy Plants, tanks that, and farms down with Bug Bite. Big win there against Double Grass team. Moving into the next match against Run How Dang. And we're going to be leading Rainy Castform once more into the Skarmory. So again, whenever you see a Skarmory lead, first thing that comes to mind is Caleb Peng Double Grass. Here comes the Shiftry. Same thing again, bring in the Deoxys. So, like we said in the last matchup, you just want to commit shields here and make sure you win. But you don't want to get hit by Leaf Blade. So I go for a different strategy this time. I let the first one go through. Even if it's a foul play, that's fine because you could still use both shields after. He can't farm down with Snarl. So, calling the Leaf Blade is huge for us. Now we do throw the Rock Slide, call the shield, and now they're going to throw their charge move. We have to shield now because even Leaf Blade is going to KO in this range. That's totally fine. We are going to farm, and they get to another one. Just got to shield this. Same situation as the last game. We will be down to shield. but we line up perfectly with what they have in the back. And this time, we didn't get hit by the foul play. So you can see we have much more health than in the previous match on the Deoxys. So let's see if they bring a Meganium or the Skarmory here. They bring a Meganium, so I'm going to build up for 2 Psycho Boosts and throw back to back here. Now, technically I could have thrown a Rock Slide first and then tried to go for Psycho Boost, but I'm just going to go straight back to back Psycho Boost. This is a little bit unfortunate because it does lower the attack, but you can see Psycho Boost still does quite a bit. And after taking all that damage, he switches on to Skarmory. So this is actually going to allow me to get to 1 more charge. We're super deep up to this point. So Psycho Boost literally is going to do nothing to Skarmory because it's going to resist it anyways. Now we bring in the Castform, and this is actually a pretty interesting situation here because he still has a shield and we have 0. But remember, we have a full health Forretress in the back, which is going to absolutely obliterate that Meganium. And at this point, it looks like the opponent is actually saving his shields for that Meganium. So he's going to be in for a surprise once he sees that Forretress come in here. So we're going to throw the Weather Ball here again. Let's see if the opponent chooses to shield this time. He does not, so he lets the Skarmory go down, brings back in the Meganium, and he is farming up a lot. He is going to have so much energy here, but it's literally going to do nothing to Shadow Forretress. So I'm letting the switch timer come up, bring in the Forretress. Was going to try to sack, but you could see the damage has already been done. I can't even sack if I wanted to because it's pretty much knocked out already. And you can't get back-to-back Earthquakes, so Frenzy Plant will not KO, and we take that game with the Shadow Forretress. The Kenpachi up next, and these are just selected matches that I took out of sets. This is not a particular set in general, it's just a bunch of matches that I put together. So here you can see a horrible lead Shiftry into Castform. So I'm going to switch into the Deoxys. They're going to switch out into Marowak. Now I am super happy to bait out this Marowak right now because you do not want Marowak on Shadow Forretress, because it absolutely chunks, assuming it's running Fire Spin as its quick move. It destroys Forretress. So here, we're going to get hit by the charge with the Shadow Ball. It's going to pretty much KO us. I actually had a Psycho Boost ready there, which I could have thrown, but there's a bit of lag, so we didn't get that through. Going to bring Castform anyways. Castform is a really good matchup against the Marowak here. And I want to make sure that my switch timer is up by the time that Shiftry comes up. So I actually misplayed this a little bit by not waiting out the switch timer, but fortunately he threw, which is going to allow the switch timer to come up a bit. I do shield this, expecting the Shadow Ball, and I expect he actually switch locked himself into this match, so this is amazing for us. Look at how Shadow Forretress tanks this move. Leaf Blade, nothing. Forretress, look how quickly Forretress is going to take out this Shiftry. You know how fast Shiftry gets to fast moves, to charge moves. It couldn't even get to one there. That's how insanely fast Shadow Forretress is in this situation. So at this point, I just throw the Sand Tomb here because I don't want to take any fire damage from the Marowak, even though it was low health and I could have farmed down. Didn't want to take the chance. Just get out of my face. Ferrothorn comes in. We are going to Sand Tomb this thing down. Or am I going to go for the Earthquake? Let's see. Neither of Ferrothorn's moves should do too much to us, so we're going to let them go through. Power Whip doesn't do anything. Looks like I might be going for the Earthquake here. Yes, I am. So Earthquake is going to come through. Let's see if they choose to shield. This is actually part of the win condition here. They let it go through. Wow. So seeing that Sand Tomb might have convinced them to let that go through. We're going to sack the Castform here. Going to get hit by this Power Whip. It's going to pretty much KO. And we're able to Water Gun down there and take that match. Next matchup against Klee Q0. And we are going to be leading Rainy Castform. Again, Rainy Castform is going to lead all of these matches into Mantine. This is actually a very interesting matchup. And of course, Mantine is running Bullet Seed here actually, so these are doing super effective damage. Typically, I don't see Mantine running Bullet Seed. It's usually either Wing Attack or Bubble. Bubble is usually more common, but Bullet Seed is very rare. So we're going to go for the Thunder here right away, hoping that they do not shield this. Attack has been lowered as well. They do shield, so it's a little bit unfortunate. And obviously, nothing the Mantine throws at us is going to do super effective, as Ice Beam or Bubble Beam most likely is the two moves that pretty much every Mantine runs. He actually switches out into Azumarill. So let's see if we can get to this Thunder. They do get to move. This seems like an Ice Beam because it was actually very quick. So if it is an Ice Beam, we wouldn't have to shield. It's actually a play rough, but fortunately we survive that and get to this Thunder without having to use a shield. So that is pretty huge. Thunder comes through, does quite a bit. Gonna switch out into Deoxys here. Again, we are not running Thunderbolt, but we did see that this Azumarill is running Play Rough. So it might be Play Rough, Hydro Pump. They go for Play Rough, that's totally fine. We're gonna build up here for 2 charges and try going back to back. Gonna throw the Rock Slide. Didn't quite get to back, but that's fine. At this point, it does look like a Thunderbolt, so they do shield. And they switch out into the Umbreon. So not optimal, but at least we will be doing super effective with the counters before we get knocked out by Foul Play here. And this matchup looks like it's probably going to come down to Forretress in the back. And will it be able to handle Azumarill plus Umbreon? I actually choose to shield this because I figured that I would do quite a bit of damage here and I wanted to save that Deoxys for the Azumarill in the back. So I bring in Forretress here, and let's see how much a Foul Play will do to Shadow Forretress. You can see it doesn't do too much. So we're going to throw the Sand Tomb here, lower the defense on this Umbreon. Let's see if we get the shield too, because that'd be pretty big. We do not get the shield, but that's totally fine. Defense fell. I would expect them to probably switch out after throwing this charge move. So Foul Play comes through, again, doesn't do much. They switch out into Azumarill. Azumarill is likely going to have to throw its energy here. It does. Let's see if this is a Play Rough. It's an Ice Beam. Lucky that I actually KO'd there, so we're going to come in with the Deoxys, overfarm a little bit, and throw right before they get to another charge move here. This Rock Slide should be very close to KOing. One counter is going to do the trick, and Umbreon's going to come back in, but it did use up all its energy, so we are going to farm down. They still have Mantine in the back with a lot of health. I totally forgot about this Mantine, so we had to farm up a lot of energy here with the Deoxys. We have to get back-to-back Rock Slides, basically. There's number 1. Here comes number 2. And Defense Deoxys basically just swept this team, beat 3 Pokemon in the back. That is crazy. And that was a very impressive performance there by Defense Deoxys. Legendary Dr. Bob is up next. And let's see what we will be running into this time. It is an Azumarill. So Azumarill versus Rainy Castform is a pretty good matchup, but it does require landing a bait with the Weather Ball for a shield or landing an unshielded Thunder. Otherwise, it does get quite close, assuming they're running Play Rough. So we throw the Thunder here. They choose to shield that, so not a good start. And let's see what move they are running here. On their Azumarill, I choose to let's go to Hydro Pump, so that's perfect for us. That puts us in a much better position. And I think at this point they're at an Ice Beam. So actually, because this is Ice Beam, it actually would not KO, and I'll be able to get off this Thunder, which is either going to force them to go down 2 shields or lose Switch. Because this Thunder actually will not KO, but it's going to put it so low that Water Gun damage will actually beat the Azumarill. So you could see here, we actually ended up winning this matchup with the opponent using a shield, and we still maintain Switch. So that's absolutely amazing. Now Wigglytuff is going to come in here, and I'm going to bring in Defense Deoxys. What are they going to have in the back is the question. I'm going to throw these Rock Slides here. You could see even though Wigglytuff is running Charm, it's not doing that much to Deoxys. I mean, it's still chunking away obviously, but Deoxys is pretty bulky, and we did get the last shield there. So that's really good for us. And we should be able to get to one more Rock Slide after this, assuming we use a shield before they could farm down. So I'm going to actually switch out to Forretress here, and they're going to bring in Marowak. This is a horrible situation. Look how much damage Fire's been doing. It's a race to Earthquake. Can we get there? Forretress clutching out the Earthquake. Because they have 0 shields, this is actually going to work out in our favor. Earthquake one-shots the Marowak. Wigglytuff comes back in. It's going to charm us down, but we have 2 shields. And we're going to be able to counter down here before they could charm us down. So a big win there. Next match against Chandra Nalair. And we're going to be leading Castform into Skarmory once more. So again, a very good lead for Castform. And let's see what the opponent is going to have in the back. So we're going to build up here for a Thunder before throwing. This should only be a Sky attack here. I'm going to shield it up anyways. They actually switch out into Snorlax. So I'm going to throw one Weather Ball just to soften it up a little bit. And then switch right into the Deoxys. And because it's been softened up now, this should be a pretty good matchup despite taking this damage from Snorlax from the Lick and the Body Slams. So we should be able to maintain switch advantage here, which is pretty important. And I'm actually going to choose to throw here just because if they want to throw another Body Slam, they're going to have to shield. So we are going to throw this Rock Slide here. And they choose to let that go, so that's going to knock out the Snorlax. Skarmory is going to come back in. And let's see if we get to another Rock Slide. We do. Opponent may potentially think this is a Thunderbolt, so we could get a shield here maybe. We do not, but Rock Slide still hurts quite a bit. And they are forced to throw because they are taking way too much damage. We can come back in with the Cast Form here, who has a Weather Ball ready, I believe. Yep. So Weather Ball is going to come through here. This is going to KO the Skarmory. But they switched into Shiftry, did not expect that. Here comes... wow. Enough said. I couldn't even get to it quick enough. The Shiftry was already gone by the time I had come up with the actual thought in my head of what was going on there. So, wow. Gonna throw the Sandsims here. Skarmory is going to throw this move. This is not going to KO, so I'm actually gonna let this go through here. And we're gonna throw another Sandsum, it looks like. And this is pretty much game over. Even if the Skarmory knocks out the Fortress here, one Water Gun will be enough. And you can see the defense has been lowered so much that it actually faints before the Cast Form even comes out because they wanted nothing to do with Cast Form there. So overall, Shadow Forretress is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon to use in Go Battle League. Obviously, it is quite challenging to use, especially with the Sansu moveset. I would recommend going with Mirror Shot if you want to test it out. And with so many Alolan Marowaks and Shadow Hypnos running Fire Punch now, it is a little bit difficult to find success with Shadow Forretress. With that said, if you could align it with the right counter, like you've seen here, if you could get it onto a Shiftry, Meganium, Venusaur, even Bastiodon to an extent, it could perform really well. So Shadow Forretress, definitely a fun Pokemon to use and relatively spicy if that's what you're into. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.